beauties. It's the second day of our free training, total body turn on. Today we're going to talk all about pleasure being your birthright. So, before we begin, I do want to say that things may not be feeling so pleasurable right now. I totally understand and I totally get it. And the thought of practicing pleasure may seem counterintuitive to what is happening in the world. I understand that as well because I wake up in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. I look at CNN or any other news outlet, and it's like, holy shit, what the hell is going on in this world? And how could I possibly be thinking about teaching like that pleasure is your birthright and trying to encourage women and anyone else who is called to do so to practice pleasure on a daily basis, especially nowadays. And, you know, the more I thought about it, I got really, really excited about this class because pleasure is important. Pleasure is a fundamental right for everyone to experience in their life. Pleasure is accessible. Pleasure is not expensive. Pleasure is for everyone. And I really want to make that clear in this video that you don't have to be rich to practice pleasure. You don't have to be in a relationship to practice pleasure. You don't have to be in the best of circumstances to practice pleasure. In fact, times like these are the perfect time to practice pleasure. Pleasure is the best antidote to times of crisis or feeling like you're disconnected or feeling uncertain. It really is a beautiful tool to introduce in your life to soothe your nervous system, to connect with your body in a really powerful and profound way, to ground yourself in something that feels good to your body, mind, and soul. So we're going to talk a little about that in this training, and I'll give you some tools. I'll give you a couple of just really easy practices that you can do starting today to practice pleasure on a regular basis. So before I sat down to this video, I took a shower because I wasn't feeling so good this morning. I was feeling just really tired and like blah and like, great, another day inside. Like it's beautiful outside. And I decided to take a shower. And I decided to do it with a lot of love and intention and lots of attention to my body. Smelling the lavender soap on my sponge and just like feeling the warm water just all over my body. Also just like watching the suds like go on my skin and like fall into the tub. Oh, it just melted me and made me feel so much better in my body in particular. Like it just opened up my body and like softened my body, and I felt so relaxed and less stressed and less like panicky and antsy. It just soothed me so much. And then afterwards I took some coconut oil and I just like rubbed it on my arms and my belly and my legs, and it just felt so luxurious. Like it felt just so yummy and delicious. And then I decided to like beat my face up, like put on some makeup and put on some hoops and pull my hair up and, you know, put on a tank top of with one of my favorite colors, like just feel really, really good about myself, even though like I'm not leaving the house anytime soon. But I didn't do it for anyone else. I did it for myself to feel deeply connected to the pleasure in my body, to my queen that's inside, my inner goddess. Like, I feel so good, and that is allowing me to like really show up here for you and to teach this training and to give you some insight onto like what pleasure can do for you. Also, this morning I took my dog for a walk, and I just really like soaked in the fresh air, the 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 coldness of the air. Like, the air was so crisp and just so yummy and beautiful, and also just like looking at my neighborhood in awe, like just looking at it as if I had never seen it before, as if I am looking at it for the very first time, and just really enjoying being outside and like how it makes my body feel, how it makes my soul feel, how it makes me like the sensations that came up. And I just felt so grateful, so grateful that I could indulge in simple pleasures. And so those are just some examples of just how readily available pleasure is. And also, like, yeah, pleasure doesn't have to be like this huge concept. It doesn't have to be something that you save for. It doesn't have to be something that's super expensive. It doesn't have to be like a trip to the spa. It doesn't have to be a trip overseas. It doesn't have to be, or it can be. It can be all of those things. But I want to get this idea that pleasure is like something that you wait to experience. Pleasure is something you would tap into at any single moment. It's, to me, pleasure is a choice. That's how I've experienced pleasure. Like, pleasure is truly a choice. And either I decide to choose pleasure, which is amazing and awesome. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm not in the mood, and you know, I just want to take a bath, and I don't want to worry about like how it feels in the water and the suds, and I'm like, whatever. But when I choose pleasure in that moment, I can make it as like yummy and juicy and just like, ooh, as I want to. So yeah, pleasure is a choice. So I'm going to refer to my notes really quick. So that comes up to defining pleasure for yourself. That is exactly what I'm talking about right now, is defining pleasure for yourself. Your idea of what's pleasurable is completely different from what my idea of what pleasure looks like, and that is perfect. Maybe to you, going to the spa is like, that is what your pleasure game is all about, and that's what you find pleasurable, and that's what you want to spend your money and your time on. Kudos to you. That is amazing. I love a good spa day. Maybe pleasure is just spending time with your partner and having like some quality time to have a conversation and to talk about things that you both love and care about and connect with one another. Pleasure could be going out with your friends and, going to the park or what have you, just spending that quality time with people that you really truly love. Pleasure can be a set of new earrings that make you feel beautiful and makes you feel like super embodied, and that can be your pleasure. And so you get to define it for yourself. I can't do it for you. Like, no one can do it for you. You have to define pleasure for yourself. And that brings me into creating the capacity for pleasure, especially now. Especially now, like the capacity for pleasure may seem out of reach to you, understandably, because we're going through a chaotic time, and it feels like a crisis, and it could be triggering like feelings of insecurity and uncertainty. And when you're feeling uncertain in your body, how could you possibly create space for pleasure? So, when it comes to creating capacity for pleasure, it's really about titrating. It's really about um, doing small things that feel good to your body, to your nervous system, and doesn't feel super overwhelming or feels too big or completely out of scope of what you feel like is possible for you to practice at the moment. So, for example, if you um, find, like, let's say that you find like a self pleasure practice and it really is juicy and yummy, but you're just not able to like really tap into it because you don't have the capacity to feel all the emotions and sensations that might come up in your body, you might just shut down and then completely not think about pleasure again. Okay? Like, because it was completely out of your capacity to feel or to hold in your body or to experience in your body. So, for example, if you are not in the space to do like an hour self pleasure practice, then I would invite you to do like a 5 minute self pleasure practice. And that could possibly not even look like any kind of physical stimulation of whether it's of your vulva or of your breast. It could just be like you rubbing your arms and you like just really caressing your skin, and then maybe add another 5 minutes where you do like a really nice breast massage, or you do a nice really thigh massage, and then there's like another 5 minutes where you do where you actually like self pleasure yourself, and you can just keep titrating and adding on without overwhelming your system. Another thing is, if you, for example, I remember the first time I did a spa day, I'll use that example. Um, it was nice, it was cool, but I had never done like a full on spa day. So after a while, I was like, I'm so like, this is enough. Like after the third treatment, I was like, I don't know if I could do another treatment. And I'm not really present to this process, and I'm not really enjoying myself anymore because I'm just ready to leave. I don't want to do like a fourth or fifth treatment, but I already paid for it. And so I didn't realize like I needed to titrate, like I needed to maybe start with just like a massage and then like one other thing. And then slowly, as I got used to doing spa treatments, then I could step into doing a full spa day and then feel like super, super like present in that spa day and enjoy the hell out of it. And so, yeah, creating the capacity can for pleasure can really show up in any parts of your pleasure journey, whether it's like you're embodying your pleasure through pleasure, like physical pleasure practices, or you're experiencing pleasure through buying flowers for yourself, or eating chocolate really slowly, or taking a luscious shower. Wherever you are, um, just remember, titrate, take it slow. You don't have to do pleasure all in one bit. Okay? And lastly, how to incorporate pleasure into your everyday life. Lord, do we need this today? And it could possibly look like, again, buying flowers for yourself. It could look like eating chocolate slowly and yummy. It could look like making a delicious and nutritious meal for yourself. It could also look like, waking up in the morning, doing juicy like hip circles. It can look like doing a meditation practice for a couple of minutes before you start your day. It could look like lotioning your body. Um, Pleasure comes in every shape and forms that your heart desires. Again, you get to define what that looks like. Again, you get to create and titrate the capacity in which you experience pleasure in your body and in your life. And you get to choose how you experience pleasure in your life. Um, if you aren't feeling pleasurable at the moment, I invite you to take it slow. I invite you to choose one thing that you really, really enjoy. Even if it's connecting with someone, I invite you to call your friend. I invite you to do a Zoom dance party or a FaceTime dance party. I invite you to cook a meal for yourself or for your loved one or your partner or your friend. I invite you to go out and take pictures of things that bring you pleasure, like flowers and trees and nature, whatever that looks like for you. I invite you to call in pleasure whenever and wherever you can. And remember, it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be like extravagant, expensive. Pleasure is available to you at any moment. So I hope this gave you a little insight into why pleasure is your birthright. Pleasure is meant to be experienced no matter where you are in your life, no matter where you come from, no matter what you've experienced, you deserve pleasure. If you need permission to experience it, if you need permission to start practicing it, here it is. It's your permission, it's your invitation. So join me on this pleasure ride this week and or today or in this hour, in this moment. And I can't wait to possibly hear about what came up for you. And tomorrow we will talk about how to discover your heart's desires. Ooh, another interesting one during this very interesting time. All right, my loves. So much love to you and stay safe out there. And so, like, my heart is with you. All right, until next time.